Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for November 28th through December 2nd, 2022. Coming into the last month of this incredibly intense year and looking forward into a new reality. We've got Jupiter retrograde, now direct, but still hanging out at 28 degrees Pisces, taking us back into the dark ages, back into the deepest, darkest depths of the death cycle. This is the Pisces, the very end of Pisces, just before you get to Aries, is that rebirth, the death and rebirth at the Aries point. Very powerful that Jupiter this year has gone 3 times, will go 3 times over this Aries point. The next and final time on December 21st, Solstice 2022. So we're preparing for this. Right now, though, we've had a shift of energy because we've got all of our personal planets now in Sagittarius, coming out of that deep dive into Scorpio. And now in Sagittarius, it's about lifting up and getting greater perspective of where we came from and how we got here. So huge insights available as we've had Mercury and Venus together in Sagittarius. They're starting to separate out now, Mercury moving much faster. And yet that Mercury Venus was energy together is like a massive council, especially after the Mercury retrograde in Libra, Virgo, Libra, looking for that perfect balance, looking for that perfect love, looking for coming back to the garden and finding that, yes, still we have some problems with the feminine. The feminine is supposed to be a fountain of creation energy, and she's broken, and she barely has enough to keep herself alive, much less overflow to those around her. So we've got some serious cleanup to do, and that's what this Black Moon Lilith in Cancer is all about. Black Moon Lilith is now at 25 degrees Cancer, coming into an opposition it's already in this opposition with Pluto. We'll come into an exact opposition with Pluto in Capricorn the first week of December at 26 degrees. And then together they'll be in exact opposition at 27 degrees for the rest of December. So this is telling us what this December is about. And it's about really lifting up out of the deepest, darkest shadows. When we really look at the places within us that continue to manifest the story that we aren't good enough or we don't deserve, the story that has affected all humans, but particularly supernova souls, and especially those who were here for the Atlantean catastrophes. Being an advanced soul on the earth at the time of the Atlantean catastrophes, it was all about blaming you and the blame and shame game as a very deliberate targeting to make sure that we never ever go anywhere near our power. This is all got to resolve because there's a story playing out for us very powerfully. But this Black Moon Lilith opposite of Pluto and Capricorn, looking at our power, psychic power, and where we've given it away through contractual arrangements with outside authority. This is the game changer moment as we've got Pluto on the way to move into Aquarius and Saturn in Aquarius, speaking to the role that we play, our specific dharma in the age to come. This is what all of this astrology is about, preparing us for this role. And if we've got shame and blame, we're going to continue to give our power away. And so it's like we've been in this journey into the deepest, darkest depths of what is keeping us in those dark ages and what's keeping us in those dynamics of the past that keep playing out again and again. There must be some hidden program way, way down there that continues to pull us back into these loops and stories. but it's time to move into the Aquarian age. We got to get over it. We got to stand up. And most of this is about our feminine standing up, healing herself, taking her power back so that she's not leaking it away. So she can heal and become that overflowing cup. We cannot move over to the Aquarian age with outside loyalties. Now, when you're programmed to fear your own power, though, then you're willing to leak it out. You don't even know you're doing it because we've been so deeply programmed and traumatized around this, especially in the mechanism of how we come into our higher faculties with our glandular system and our higher chakra system. It's so traumatized. You get anywhere near that higher expression and experience of what it means to be a human, a true human, in this higher potential, and you will get knocked right down because this has been the program. And so, as long as we have these loyalties and contracts and agreements that we don't remember necessarily, but we must have agreed, said, hey, I can't handle this power. It's not mine to have. You guys better take it for me, you know? And now we're going, ooh, wait a minute. Not a good idea because we're going to be stuck here forever if we don't take the power. I mean, it's about literally we live all of the disease and issues and problems of this world, the modern medical nightmare that we're in right now. It's all based on parasitic realities and literal parasites. So it's like we started as a species, as humanity, to take back our power psychically. And now they're like, that's okay. We'll just infiltrate your body and we'll suck your juices that way. I mean, of course, we know that parasitic energies are at the base of all disease. And if this information was more available and supported, of course, we would no longer have the plagues and cancers that we're fighting right now. So it's really, really important to understand this parasitic energy and what can we do in our physical body, in our health, and our vibration, and our attitude, and to be like, I'm not feeding the monster and the matrix, right? It's like we're each a battlefield right now for the lower and higher vibrational energies. And I'm sure you're feeling it, supernova souls. Wow. And it's been a long and weary time of battle, hasn't it? All the way through the Piscean age. And everything in the astrology is speaking to this and speaking to that it's the end now. Now we lift up out of the dark ages. Now that Jupiter is direct, even though he sits still at 28 degrees, um, there's this momentum and this lift, and it's like bringing us back into perspective. This is also the shift that our personal planets just made between the deep dark journey into the Scorpio drama and then into the reason why we go into the depths is so we have a greater understanding and we can chart our course in a whole different way. And this is like a very simple concept, and I know I just talk about it again and again and again, but like once we know it's our power, this life force in our own body, because we've been shown and we're learning how true it is that a human soul, especially an advanced conscious soul in a human body, is the highest form of authority, the highest form. And this is the deal. We've been waiting for them to somehow come and give our power back, and it's never going to happen. And that's where the feminine right now and what she's going through, it's like realizing that nobody's here to save her and she's got to lift herself up. She's got to take that last bit of energy. This is the Aries energy that we've been flirting with this weekend because Mercury and Venus both made a trine with Chiron in Aries. And it's this rumbling, especially with Jupiter now on his way back into Aries. And it's like Aries is the spark of life and creation and life force. And it's everything that creates all worlds and keeps all the planets, whatever's going on out there in this realm, this world, this land, keeps it all in balance. And is so much more powerful than any disruptive or disorienting. This is how we've been so deranged right now because we've got this electromagnetic frequencies interrupting our natural organic. So we need to stop putting our attention so much on the interrupting and the twisted and the dark and the victimhood of this whole thing. And we got to go like, oh, we got to go back further. This journey, the Sagittarius energy is like, we got to get the bigger picture of the story here. This is all an attack because we had it in the first place. It's ours. And we literally have to figure out in our cellular level how to take back our energy for our body. Source and blessed us with access to this energy, especially as advanced souls. We got this direct access, and in past lives, you've already attained a light body and a full experience of a higher way of being in this realm, this full human potential, and you're here to demonstrate this. And it's all our energy, and all creation wants is for us to contain it and direct it in alignment with creation, co-create. And so, but it's like, how can we ever receive back this incredible energy that's our own if we don't feel that we deserve it or we don't think we can handle it? And so this is this deep and profound shadowy darkness we've been going in, and we're going to teeter on the edge of this for the whole month of December. December is dark on some level because it's Black Moon Lilith opposite Pluto, and it's like, all right, up against the wall. She's not going to give any, he's not going to give any, right? And it's like, all right, gridlock. But the cool thing about opposition energies is that when they're exactly, they pull and pull and pull on each other, but when they're exactly opposite, there's a mutual receptivity. This is the father and the mother being able to look at each other, to forgive each other, to come back into that sacred marriage with this Capricorn Cancer. Incredibly powerful, because Pluto in Capricorn is talking about power structures, which we've been in a patriarchal reality. So it's masculine, just in the true nature of the energies. And then Black Moon Lilith represents the deepest, darkest places of the feminine. And so it's kind of like this gridlock place. And at the same time, so we've got this incredibly tense showdown of energies. And it's really about bringing the mother back into wholeness and help and healed and whole, the feminine, so that she can once again give and overflow that beautiful fountain and build back the garden. And in each of us, the feminine roles are her mission to access our very own vital force in our body. The vital force is an incredible power that creates miracles. A lot of energy is coming up around the Christ consciousness timeline because we've got Jupiter moving back into Aries. And that Aries point is right where the greatest conjunction happened and made the Star of Bethlehem around the time of the birth of Jesus. So there's a lot of kind of part of the greater, bigger story that we're starting to understand has to do with this. And understanding that as Jupiter heads back over this Aries point, it is an anchoring in and an activation, a landing home of this divine consciousness, Christ consciousness timeline. And one of the energies that's come forward of this whole period of time with Jupiter in Capricorn and Neptune in Pisces. Neptune in Pisces really about revisiting the Piscean age so we can get out of it for good. The Piscean age was defined at the shift of ages by these mystical revelations of Christ consciousness, where an embodiment of Christ consciousness, Jesus and Yeshua in a body, showed us what's possible as the advanced human. The reason why there was so much of a following and so much attention on Yeshua was because of the miracles. And now we've been told about these miracles, but what the real miracle was the healing that was taking place, the power of this focused life force to be able to save life itself. This is so Aries, 0 degrees Aries. It's like the fight for life. It is when, because in health, if you study, say in classical homeopathy, that the body will take on suppression to a certain point, right? Because our Western medical practices are suppressive, and they're telling you to put that back in the body, whereas health is through expression. This is everything right now because with Mars retrograde in Gemini. So it's like we're talking about our voice that's been stolen from us, but we're also talking about our life force that's been stolen from us. And this power is so incredible, and that was what brought the people to Jesus's teachings, was the healing. And we have been shown that we can't get out of the Piscean age and out of the dungeon and out of the persecution of the healers until we claim back that mystical, magical, miracle energy of the Piscean age. And so that's what's trying to play out right now. And it's the deal is that we got Mercury and Venus and the Sun now in Sagittarius. One by one, Mercury, then Venus, then the Sun are going to be making some very dramatic transits. So even though we've got this gridlock energy, we got Mars still retrograde, Jupiter still in Pisces for December, but there's also this energy of super dynamic push and pull and adjusting energy because of mutable squares. Now, we're starting to feel a little bit of relief because Mars retrograde has been in square to Neptune for 2 whole months, and that will be till the end of November. But guess what? Now our personal planets come right into this T-square. The journey of these planets starts with a trine to Chiron, and Mercury and Venus made that trine this weekend. Then Mercury and Venus will take turns coming into an opposition with Mars retrograde, triggering this square with Neptune in Pisces. So a mutable T-square. And it's like just when we're coming off. And it's interesting because, we had that whole drama of the Saturn square Uranus in the fixed signs. That's completely off and done as of December 3rd. But now we've got mutable T squares and 2 whole months of Mars retrograde, or not quite retrograde, still in that square through the month of November or October and November. And so now it's like, oh, finally that square is coming off. And now, bam, bam, our personal planets making this opposition with Mars retrograde, Sagittarius opposite Mars retrograde in Gemini, and square with Neptune. So this energy of Mercury and then Venus making these squares is going to go through the first week of December. So this is our next thing. So it's like, but again, it's like we've had this square going on of Mars square Neptune, Mars retrograde, just kind of that whole gridlock energy. And Mars is our action planet, main action planet. Let's go. Let's do something. Doesn't like retrograde, and especially square Neptune, because now it's all confusing up and down. Black is white and white is black. And we're getting completely gaslit, and lied to on just such huge levels. It's just beyond what the brain can even handle. And so we just go, oh, so forget it. I'm just going to try to live my life. Now the personal planet's coming into this. And so Mercury, our perspective. Now in Sagittarius, it's about rising above and taking a hold of our greater perspective that we got from going into the underworld and making it work for us. Seeing like, oh, now I get it. Oh, yeah. They had to go through this whole elaborate plan to trick us into thinking that we couldn't handle our power or it wasn't ours to have, and make us scared as shit about it, and just to keep us from it. And now we step back into it. It's up to us. We're in charge. We're the power. It's hard though, because it's like supernova souls have had this pattern of programming around punishment. You go anywhere near that light, that awakening, that light body, that truth of who you are, and we are going to knock you so far down. And so how did we get into this? And how do we get out of it? Because I'm pretty sure that I'm done, and I'm feeling supernova souls being like, yeah, I'm done being punished. This is a bunch of bullshit. For who? For what? What did you do wrong? It's what you did right and who you are. That's right. Simply, you don't have to do anything. You show up in who you are, and they're coming for you in the Piscean age as some brave souls who that went down to the depths of the darkness and said, all right, I gotta fully, if I'm gonna help humanity and be a part of this experience, I gotta fully understand the darkest places. And that is the supernova superstar that's about to rise from the ashes and come back into the glory. It's game over at this point, and we're so close. And that's what this astrology is saying. So, Mercury, our perspective, and Sagittarius, the whole Sagittarius energy is like, pick yourself up. Come on, get back on that horse. Like, your quest is calling. And if you're ever going to get out of here, move forward on any level, it's about taking back that path, that purpose, that peace of mind and presence that comes from knowing that you're fulfilling your gifts, bringing forward your purpose here. That's where the peace, this is the world peace we've been looking for. And we've got a bunch of depressed souls lost, wandering around, in circles, just interrupted, constantly interrupted in these electromagnetic fields. And it's just like, okay, how much of this are we supposed to take? Right. And this is where we're at now. So it's powerful to think about this because we got this is all with Mars retrograde in Gemini. And then we've got these mutable T-squares, Mercury, our conceptual reality, Venus. How do we get back on that horse? How do we get back on that quest? How do we get going on what in the world we came here to do? It's our only way out. And so it has everything to do with the feminine. Now, get this, the day that Venus makes the exact square with Neptune, when as these our personal planets make these squares, I believe that is December 4th. And that's the day that Neptune turns direct. And so Neptune turning direct is like at 22. Neptune's at 22 degrees Pisces. That means there's only 8 more degrees left in the sign. And so we're coming to the end of this rehashing of the Piscean age. And Neptune direct is huge, happening on the exact day that square with Saturn, with Venus. And Sagittarius saying it's the feminine getting back on in her power and on her quest and in her fountain and building that this garden back. It's how we do it. And so, but Mercury, then Venus in the square with Neptune and opposite of Mars. And Mars is this restriction on our voice and our expression. And so going back to that energy of suppression, this Mars retrograde of like piling on the suppression, like Western medicine will do, like, oh, let's give you a drug for that. And then, oh, you got a side effect. So let's have another drug for that side effect. And then you're going to have to take these for the rest of your life, and so eventually the organism, when it gets to the point where it's running out of life force, it will fight to the death for life. And this is where we are. This is Jupiter moving back into Aries. This is a massive activation of the last bit of everything we have left to be able to take back our world and take back our reality. And it's just comes down to our health. And so it's deep and mysterious and individual for each of us. These are our personal planets, but it's like, where has your voice been stolen? And that that is keeping you from being back on your path and purpose and your quest, making everything work out. Everything is fine. With Supernova Soul is feeling like they're on their path with the people that they're here to work with at the right place at the right time, doing what they're here to do. Everything is fine in the world. And of course, we don't know what we're here to do because we've been so hidden from our power. And the power that we want to work with the most in this experience in this lifetime is the most hidden from the past. It's the most persecuted. It's the most under the rubble. And we've been on a quest going back to get this. It's just like, all right, we thought you were out of the Piscean age, but if you're going to keep staying as victim, waiting for a savior, and wallowing in the pain and persecution, which is totally valid, and we all have our path of that time, then we find that righteous anger and we say, no more. And perhaps we could hold this in our space. Like, okay, Adrian says, and this is what came through the Edgar Casey readings. And it's like you got to intellectually understand and then you can embody it. That the highest form of authority is a human soul and a body. This is truth. There is nothing out there that can stop you. And you're going to feel so much better. And we can heal all of it. And we're figuring out solutions left and right. And this is the dynamic part of this astrology, right? We got the gridlock of the Black Moon Lilith and Cancer, that part of us that doesn't feel worthy. Here we are trying to have like a massive, maybe financial reset. But how can we receive that abundance? A positive, there's a negative reset trying to keep us, there's different timelines, right? But the positive reset, we got to get ready for this. What are you going to do with all that abundance? What if you're trusted with wealth and humanitarian projects? What are you going to do? How are you going to be able to receive and handle and be comfortable with the abundance of who you really are? Because we've been so tricked into thinking that wealth is physical items, and it is nice and helpful to have what you need here. But stack that shit up, you cannot take it with you. And the true wealth of the world, the security force of the future, Space Force, it's not weapons. They don't work anymore as we evolve. It's intuitive perception. It's intuitive empaths that are the security force of the future. That's you. And you've been beaten the F down, and now it's time to get up and shine in that light that you are. Not out of the ego gratification of the trap of the stories that we have been trapped in, but shining as the true light of your soul, the part of you that's been through every lifetime, that spark of creation. It's grown into a beautiful facet, and now it's time to shine soon. Not quite, because we're still in this crazy Mars retrograde. And now we're feeling it because our personal planets coming into these squares, and Mercury, then Venus, our perspective about our greater spiritual quest and the feminine aspect of our greater spiritual quest, which is the healing. I mean, aren't we at the end of the road? And maybe it's like all the supernova souls being like, I'm not going to be a healer again. I'm not going to be, the reluctant leader. Maybe we have the reluctant healer, and we know we have to change our karmic situation of where we codependently tried to help and heal and at our own expense. But it's like when we take back our power, we take back our healing and the miracle of life force. And we need it. This is why they've tried to snub you out again and again and again. And it didn't work. You're still here because the organism will take so much before it rises all of its power. And maybe this is our earth, like our purified astral earth. It's like throwing off the disease, and are we microorganisms in this process? That's so exciting. As you come into who you are and your power, you'll feel like a connection to the natural world. It's something you have to seek out because in these days, because there's literally these grids, and the more people buy into the false matrix grid, it's almost like that natural organic grid kind of fades out because nobody's paying attention. We got to seek out these experiences. But when you have this connection with nature, with the plants, with the animals, and you can feel this incredible magic of what we get to do here to interface in consciousness with other beings. This is the greater, wider perspective that's coming. Like, we gotta get shut out of the cannon, and maybe this Jupiter moving back into Aries, right? It's like, we can't just rise up a little bit and, oh, okay, it's not so dark as I thought. We gotta rise. We gotta shoot ourselves way out there and get way bigger perspective and use this energy to fuel our way forward in our autonomy, our power, our creation energy, our life force. And it's all laid out for us with this astrology. So December is super dynamic, especially this first week when Mercury and Venus will be making those mutable T-squares. Now, remember, mutable squares are about, well, squares are about, you can't keep going the way you're going, right? It's the end of the road. You've got to make a turn, a big shift. And but mutable squares are all about shifting. And it's a lot of times such a big shift, you don't even know where you are or what you're doing while you're in the shift, right? It's that feeling of being in the roundhouse and everything is confusing and lost. And just stop trying to make sense of anything and just ride the wave, And but it's all about us getting back on our quest. Now, get this, after the personal planets make this T square, they are actually at the same time, they move, Mars comes into a square with Saturn. That means that Mercury and Venus will be in a sextile relationship to Saturn. So this qualifies the whole thing. And this is where the theme is coming through that Saturn, now direct in Aquarius, is about, all right, get your marching orders, get your ducks in a row. This is your path forward in the Aquarian age. So everything that's going on with this mutable square and the December astrology is about preparation for who you are and what you're here to do and your true self in this transition time and it moving into the age of Aquarius. So it's super dynamic because we've got mutable square, but then trining up with Saturn, it's harmonizing. It's saying this is all about getting all that old cobweb bullshit story so you can grab a hold of that greatest gift. That's that magical power, that superpower that's hidden under the rubble, take it back and begin to orient, move forward. It's like we got this message about Mars retrograde being a reinitiation, a remembering of who we really are, and a deep initiation process. And maybe this is part of it as we uncover these greatest gifts that have been so hidden from us. We've got to really quickly reorient and learn and remember and have the confidence and the strength to know that we know what to do with these gifts and skills that are being bestowed upon us and we're claiming back. So know that this December is a massive preparation time and everything talks to this dynamic, massive adjustments that are supported and all about getting back on your true path as an advanced soul in the Aquarian age and rising up above, taking that greater perspective and being like, oh, yeah, I see the story now. I'm not going to let that pull me down anymore. And so here we go. And all leading up to the very dynamic solstice on the 21st when Jupiter moves back into Aries. So we're going to be doing a look out for a supernova soul group session for that solstice. Very powerful energy. And we're in this preparation time. Not too far after that, January 12th is when Mars turns direct. And so then we're going to be ratcheting up and just kind of feel out this energy of all the suppression we've talked about. Mars retrograde in Gemini, suppression of the voice that's happened over thousands of years, especially of the feminine teachings and the truth. And so imagine, and this all this suppression in our own being and suppress, and then the organism is gaining strength, Jupiter moving back into Aries and Mars turning direct in January, and there is going to be a splattering of expression. all levels of life in all directions. And it's just like pent up, right? And gaining momentum. And this is our time of initiation with this Mars retrograde to prepare for that great leap forward. And what do you want your voice to stand for and to say as it comes back? And what do you want to throw off as disease as your voice and power comes back? So, incredibly dynamic and powerful times. And this Mercury Venus um, coming into opposition with Mars and square Neptune we're starting to feel that right now. And then that will go through that first week of December. So this is a super dynamic, and it's kind of like, all right, we're moving into the deepest dark we're going deeper into Mars retrograde. And we've got mutable T-squares, and we're coming up against the wall of the way we've done it before. We've got to reclaim that magic, that mystical revelation, the miracles right here in our own body, heal ourselves first so that then we can be able to help. We are having a rapid degeneration in the physical body, so fast and so misunderstood and so under the radar. This physical health is everything. So be present with your body, love yourself, and be willing to um, take care of yourself, especially with these Mars transits, the Mars T-squares, because that rules the physical body, Mars, and often you'll have an expression. And so we're basically finding what's inside of us has been suppressed this whole time, and it's like our greatest gifts that we didn't even know we had. And won't it be fun? But it might be a little bit um drama and messy as we start to put that back out in the world. And so it's very powerful times that we're in. Don't miss a moment. Let's stay together. And thank you so much for being with me and going through all you've gone through. Supernova Soul to be here right now. It's amazing, amazing times lie ahead. And we're getting into it in 2023. The numerology, very different. So more about that soon. So have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.